Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to a special review and unboxing for the brand new Vandenberg album, Sin. Just came out on Friday, August 25th of 2023. It's the 5th studio album, of course, featuring namesake guitar player Adrian Vandenberg, who is a former guitar player for Whitesnake. So we're going to break down this album, do an unboxing, all that great stuff in just a bit. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things do help support my channel, so I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you'll stay up to date on really cool videos just like this with the review for the brand new Vandenberg album, Sin. So I want to give you guys a little bit of background here because this will tie into the things I'm going to talk about in my review. The band itself formed in 1981 around guitar player Adrian Vandenberg and released their self-titled debut album in 1982, which featured their biggest hit to date, Burning Heart. That went top 40, and that was news to me. I didn't know that. I just kind of learned that one digging into do this review here. Went to number 39 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. So right out of the gate, they had some success there, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, though, it didn't last over the run of the first era of the band itself, where they released 3 studio albums. So that self-titled one in 82, then Heading for a Storm and Alibi in 85, and you can see all 3 of those there behind me. And in 1987, Adrian Vandenberg was asked to play a guest guitar solo on the Whitesnake 1987 album on the song Here I Go Again. And from that, David Coverdale, frontman for Whitesnake, asked Adrian to join. And so, of course, at that point, essentially, Vandenberg was over. He then was going to play and be part of the follow-up Whitesnake album, Slip of the Tongue, in 1989, but he wasn't able to play on it. He wrote all the music for it. And he would later write and play on the Whitesnake 1997 album, Restless Heart. So Adrian's status as a guitar player went up immensely during his time with Whitesnake. Having already had this band here, he would go on and do some other things, throughout his career and so forth. But ultimately, he reunited the band in 2004. Though they didn't produce a new album at that time, it wasn't until he actually put together a new version of the band in 2020 and released the one that is the same year, same title, I should say, 2020. And in that one there featured the lineup, of course, of Adrian Vandenberg on guitar, but it had Ronnie Romero on vocals, who did an amazing job. And then we have Randy Vander Elson on bass and Cohen Herfest on drums. And it's a stellar album. This one here made a lot of people's #1 album for the year when it was released in 2020. It was very high on my top 10 list itself. And of course, that brings us to the new album, Sin, which we're going to be talking about. And so, 5th studio album, it's produced by Bob Marlette, who's worked with Alice Cooper, Crocus, David Lee Roth, just to name a few. Now, the album itself only features 9 tracks, and I was a little bummed when I first saw that. There's 8 rockers on here and 1 ballad. Clocks in at about 41 minutes, which is LP length, for records. And a lot of albums these days are now being shortened with not as many tracks. Every album used to be 60 plus minutes, but now they're coming down to the 40, 45 minute mark. And, that's okay when it's all killer, no filler type stuff. And so we'll talk about that too. The previous album, 2020, that I had just showed you there, was 9 new songs and 1 re-recording of the song Burning Heart. So while that was 10 tracks, in fact, both of these have the same number of new songs. And when I kind of realized that, I kind of was like, oh, all right, we'll let it go. Here's the thing I didn't know, and I will say I didn't know, I didn't remember, but Adrian Vandenberg did the album art. He painted that, as well as the album covers there behind me as well. I just thought that was so cool when I read that, and I thought to myself, and I realized, oh wait, I think I knew that, but It just never, I always thought these album covers were amazing. I was talking about it during the episode of What Just Dropped, where I'd gotten this, and I was showing you guys, and I thought, you know, stellar album cover. And for me, a lot of times the album cover can make or break it. If it's an amazing album cover and then the music is really good, it just takes it to that next level. And certainly this has an amazing album cover. So pretty cool that he's not only involved in the songwriting, the performing, but also the album art on it. And so this album, Sin, features the same lineup as the last album, 2020, except for new vocalist Mats Levin, coming from Yngwie Malmsteen and a number of other projects that he's done. He's played with so many different bands and so forth. But he's a powerhouse vocalist like Ronnie Romero, so we're certainly not missing out not having Ronnie there. In fact, I have to say, no slight to Ronnie, but I'm getting a little burnt out on him. He's just in too many different bands, doing too many projects, not sticking around long enough. So I'm actually kind of glad Vandenberg pulled in a new vocalist. And Mats Levin is really blowing my mind on this one here. I think he fits the context of the Vandenberg songs far better, and admittedly sounds a lot like David Coverdale. And I guess when you have somebody who is in Whitesnake writing like that, it's all automatically going to sound like Whitesnake style stuff. So I certainly think that is what's helping that feeling of Mats Levin sounding like David Coverdale, whether he does or does not. Opening track on here, Thunder and Lightning. I think it's got the band firing on all cylinders. It is a killer song to kick off with. It's one of the best sounding songs that Whitesnake probably should have recorded, but of course they didn't. We get it here with Vandenberg, so very cool. In hearing it, I have to say I would really love if Adrian Vandenberg and David Coverdale would work together again in some capacity, even if it wasn't for Whitesnake, just because both of them are such powerhouse performers in their own rights. To put them together would be really amazing to hear again. Second track on here, House of Fire. This one here just really shows the power and range of new vocalist Mats Levin, making me wonder, why I don't know more about this guy. And certainly, following this review and video here, I'm going to be digging into a lot of his other projects, because I only knew him from Yngwie Malmsteen, but I looked up and saw that he's just got a laundry list of bands and things that he's been part of, including doing a recent solo album in 2019 called Skyblood, I think is the title of it, which I looked up, and that was some pretty good stuff there. My favorite track on the album is number 3. It's the title track, Sin. This one has a nice mid-tempo pace on it. It's very atmospheric, but it's got some scorching guitar that really helps elevate it, just taking it to that next level, making it feel very powerful and supercharged. Track number 4, Light It Up, is a burner of a song. When I heard that, I just wanted to put my fist in the air and start pumping. I can totally hear that one going down, really well in a live setting. Another stellar track on here, number 6, called Burning Skies. It has my favorite guitar work on the album itself. The riff on this one is amazing. Plus, again, Mats just kills it on the vocals. And the thing is, the whole album from start to finish is really good. As they say, all killer, no filler. There's not a bad song on this thing. All right, let's take a look at this. As I pointed out earlier, art done by Adrian Vandenberg. Very cool. Backside of it there, and I kind of like how the cover wraps over it. So when we open this up, it actually extends over and it sort of looks like it's torn off there. But the whole thing about this just has a very classic feel, not only from that 1980s art, but to the way that the band looks and the cool logo of the band on the backside there, not on the front, taken away from that art. When I open up from the inside, we get a cool shot of the guys there. The disc, I don't think there's anything behind the disc. Nope. Just a green background there. And we'll pull out the booklet, get the album art again, and then we start in with the guys from the band. Of course, we get the lyrics throughout this. I don't want to skip over anybody there. More lyrics. Great shot there of Adrian. Don't want to cover his face with my finger. And there we go. and just credits and things like that on it. So all in all, bottom line on this album, I think it's really stellar from top to bottom on it. Whether you're a fan of guitar or killer vocals, this album has both on it. It's really worth digging into. It's got a very classic feel to the 1980s sound on it. I think, this album, had it been released in the 80s, would have been huge. I think it could have given Whitesnake a run for their money in terms of sound and bombast and that sort of stuff on it. Unfortunately, the world is not a perfect place. If it was, this album would be huge today. It is just that good. It's certainly going to be making my top 20 countdown at the end of the year. And I think it's even contender for possibly being #1 album. It's definitely right up there in the top 3 at this moment. We'll have to see how things play out for the rest of the year on it. But my thing is, don't miss this album. Definitely check it out. And for some reason, if you've never heard of Vandenberg before, do yourself a favor. Check this album out. Go back and check out 2020. Those 2 albums in and of themselves are modern day classic albums and so good. I think you'll be really happy if you do. All right, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this review here. An unboxing for the brand new Vandenberg album, Sin. Leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts, how you feel about this album. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as me. I think it's just a stellar album. I really didn't think they could top this one, but in my opinion, they have. So there you go. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.